You're probably wondering how I got myself in this situation. Well, let me tell you. A few years ago, I decided to get all of the achievements in Deep Rock Galactic, and man did I regret that decision. Admittedly, some of the achievements made my time with the game better. Truth be told, I didn't really understand the hype behind Deep Rock and its community at first. In many ways, it's similar to the recent Helldivers 2, being a horde shooter where you pick a mission, complete some objectives, kill bugs, collect resources, and extract. But while in Helldivers I'm always looking forward to the next item I can unlock, Deep Rock felt very lacking to me in its progression. After promoting each dwarf once and unlocking their weapons, there's little else to look forward to. You can try to get some overclocks or cosmetics, but to me it really didn't feel like much. Deep Rock was just something I could do with my friends. It was like a third space in that regard. And while the gameplay was alright, it seemed like I've seen everything this game has to offer after around 20 hours or so I wasn't very excited about playing more of it. But then I started hunting for the remaining achievements, and that changed my perspective quite a bit. For instance, the achievement that requires you to beat the whopping 100 missions solo is quite daunting at first, but it made me experience the game for myself. I wasn't distracted by my conversations with friends, and there wasn't a high-level player speedrunning all of the objectives. I had to do them, which made me actively seek out optimal ways to play the game, from the best loadouts to the little things each class can do that might not be so obvious at first. Like an engineer blocking off nests with his platform gun, or the driller destroying all of Caretaker's shields with his C4. After small discoveries like that, I wanted to share them with friends or learn more of them from experienced players. Then there are also challenging achievements that test your skill as a player, like completing the Elite Deep Dive or successfully finishing 5 missions on the highest difficulty in a row. Knowing that a mission failure would mean a reset of the counter added quite a bit of extra pressure and thrill to the already difficult missions. In hindsight, they're not that difficult, but at the time of attempting those achievements, they definitely were to me, and their existence challenged me to attempt them and improve in the process. In between the missions, you'll spend your time in the lobby, and it's packed with things to do, many of which are also tied to achievements, like drinking beer, dancing, kicking barrels through hoops, and so on. With the last thing being a bit of an exception, these activities and their corresponding achievements are more about taking a break from the main gameplay loop. Generally, they're just some fun little things that you can do around the lobby. Generally. But I personally like them because they encourage exploration of this place and lead to many other cool discoveries. An arcade game, football equipment, even a button to disable gravity. These and many other things didn't need to be in the game, but their presence really adds to the experience and shows a lot of care and effort from the developers. Sadly, the same cannot be said about the final group of achievements, the one I call the grind. As the name suggests, they're all about repeating the same thing over and over again. The worst offender of them all, Legendary Team, requires you to earn gold promotions on each dwarf. To promote a dwarf, you need to reach max level on him, and then complete 4 specific missions which would give him 1 promotion and reset his level. To get to gold, you need to promote him 7 times. So for 4 classes, you would need to undergo 28 promotions. 1 promotion requires 315,000 experience points. And so for all dwarfs, you would need 8,820,000 XP total. To put it in perspective, an efficient rate of earning experience in Deep Rock is known as 1-to-1, where you gain 1,000 experience per minute. This is not a rate you'll see often, unless you're actively aiming for it and speedrunning your missions, and it excludes time between missions, loading times, occasional failures, and so on. But even ignoring all of that, and assuming an optimal 1-to-1 rate, it would take you 147 hours of non-stop grind to get those promotions. How long to beat lists Deep Rock at over 500 hours, so that just goes to show how optimistic we were in our estimate. The main problem for me though is that the game is just not ready to make those 500 hours or even 150 hours consistently engaging. The missions are procedurally generated, so technically no mission is the same, and despite what I said about solo missions, Deep Rock is clearly a multiplayer game first, so a large chunk of replayability comes from that. But as I said before, after a few dozen hours or so, the amount of new things you experience will be rapidly diminishing, which is true for almost any game really, and it would be unfair to expect anything different from Deep Rock. And because of that, I want to clarify that my problem is not the lack of content in this game. The devs are constantly updating it, adding events and free battle passes. I've got nothing but respect there. My problem is with the achievement itself. Simply put, the game didn't need it. It serves no purpose and doesn't complement the game in any way. The road to gold promotion felt way too long before I even got to silver. And on my journey, I've seen plenty high-level players, far beyond gold ranks. There are tons of players that just keep playing Deep Rock for thousands of hours. It may be their comfort game or perhaps a way to connect with friends. They seem to love it, and I'm happy for them, and slightly concerned. An argument could be made that the achievement in question was added to reward dedicated players like that, but I just don't buy it. If you wanted to reward your most dedicated players, you'd at the very least give them some new cosmetic items or some new cool titles to show off how far they've come. And Deep Rock does both of these things, until you get your 12th promotion, that is. After which it's radio silence in terms of unlocks tied to level, and the titles stop updating even earlier, shortly after the 9th promotion. So I don't know about you, but that really doesn't make me feel like there was much of an effort to reward dedication there. And it's fine, really. The vast majority of people wouldn't get there in the first place, and those that would aren't doing it for the rewards. But then, why add an achievement that requires to go far beyond where the game itself is willing to go? In the end, it just feels like a bait for people that obsess over achievements and Steam stats. And as one of those people, I'm not very happy about it. What you might not realize though, is that this grindy achievement is not even the most rare one in the game. And this only goes to show how ridiculous Carpool is. To get it, you simply need to ride a silicate harvester creature together with 3 other dwarfs and kill 5 enemies while you're all on it. It doesn't sound too bad, does it? Especially compared to like hundreds of hours of grind, right? Well, there are a few caveats. First of all, Silicate Harvester has a chance to spawn only in certain regions, and these regions will likely contain environmental hazards that can kill it before you even find it. Secondly, you need full cooperation of your teammates. Everyone needs to be on the same page and, well, on the same harvester. This might prove quite difficult not only with randoms, but even with a pre-assembled squad of friends. Staying on top of him for more than a few seconds can be quite a challenge in and of itself. And there's even an achievement for that. But don't forget that you also need 3 other dwarves to fit in as well. And don't forget about killing the enemies without accidentally killing the harvester. Because it will happen, those things are fragile. It's hard to tell just how bizarre and frustrating this achievement is, but the fact that more people just grinded for hundreds of hours should at least give you an idea. All in all, it took quite a few hours for me to get this one, but those hours certainly were not enjoyable. I don't really know why this achievement exists either. It's just so specific, yet at the same time makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why would you ever do this? In a similar achievement where you have to kill enemies while on a drill dozer, it at least makes some sense that you will be on the dozer killing enemies. I mean, the objective of that mission is to protect the dozer, so that's one of the ways to do it. But what the hell are we even doing on a harvester? Like, what? Why? These last few achievements really soured my time with the game. They didn't change my perspective for the better, they didn't challenge me in any meaningful way, they didn't provide a respite from a grindy experience, and they didn't really introduce me to anything new. Well, that last point might be a bit of a lie, as I did discover quite a different way of playing the game while I was seeking the most efficient way of earning XP, but I've refused to credit the game for it. This is a product of its insane community. The mad lads that somehow bypass mod verification and approval to create most deranged experiences known to Dwarf. The modded servers, with no player limit, with higher monster spawn rate, with more objectives, events, detonators, grabbers, you name it. They can't just give you XP for nothing, but with so much stuff to do and so many players to do it, this easily becomes the most efficient way to rank up. And the craziness of it all is honestly quite refreshing, making me have quite a bit of fun in the endgame as well. So that's my story and how I got here. I struggled, but in the end, I got all of the achievements, one way or the other. And I was certainly happy to be finally done with it, but I can't say that I was proud. Not because I took shortcuts, I am actually glad that I did, but because some of those achievements don't represent anything but a loss of time. And that is the case with most of the grindy achievements. They don't pose a provoking challenge, don't reward you for creativity, and don't encourage interesting playstyles. And it's a shame, because some of the achievements in Deep Rock actually did that, and they gave me a different perspective on the game, made me enjoy it quite a lot more. But at the same time, there were those that honestly felt like were there only to capitalize on my foolish compulsion to finish games I start. And don't get me wrong, I don't have to. I can ignore those achievements, right? It's all optional anyway. But still, I think we should hold games to a higher standard than that. Especially the ones that we like and care about. Thanks for watching.
And I'm not so proud about it.